Hey man, listen, we got another rain pod, bro.
Yeah, man, we got it.
How you doing today, my guy?
Good. That means it's coming down on us, right?
Man, it gotta be, man.
Yeah.
Rain down on me.
Yeah.
But listen, man, it's just, every day, every time I get the opportunity to do what I love, I just thank God for it.
Yeah, man.
I don't take your passion for granted.
Right.
Man, like I'm really learning that. And just the beginning stages, the setting up, just coming in here and just the nostalgia of the beauty of what we're building here. We're building the culture. And what I do actually is I build conversations.
Yeah.
Because it was conversations that was built in rooms that we couldn't get into that got us here.
Yes.
And I want to be able to build the right conversation. I'm a builder of conversation. God has given me that ability and that gift to ask the right questions.
Yes.
Because having a heart for the world at large, being at one with my humanity, that is something that I had to grow to. It was a process of maturing and becoming a man. The process of not judging myself.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing, Ivan.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a tough thing.
It is.
Because what men build up as we're young is we build up a wall over our emotions. We build up a wall that stifle our expression. So we're actually growing up not even human, kind of like robots.
Yeah.
Because that's why they say men think logical.
Yeah.
Everything do. That's why we have a hard time communicating with women. Because the way we think versus the way they think, they were allowed. Again, you always give the example. If a little girl, so this weekend, it was a daddy-daughter, first annual daddy-daughter weekend. So I took them to a hotel. We was in a nice hotel, and they're having fun. And kids, they go jump in the room. Some of my family came over, and it was a suite. So they was in the room. Lord have mercy, playing pillow fight. And you just got the sense that anytime you go somewhere with kids and they're in the room playing and somebody shut the door, you got to know that something at some point has to happen. So the room got quiet. We talking as adults, and the conversation we were having, Ivan, was absolutely scintillating. It was almost like a podcast. Yeah. I was talking to my brothers and sisters I hadn't talked to them in a minute. So it was great conversation. But something inside of me, the parent inside of me, just wouldn't let it die. Got deep into the conversation. All of a sudden I hear a boop. Ah! So I'm screaming. I hear her screaming, my little daughter Eden. So I run in the room and I'm thinking, this is what I think all parents think. Please don't let it be no blood. Lo and behold, I seen blood squirting. Got a deep cut right here.
Oh my God.
I'm like, bruh.
Wow.
Man, that just, I was like, I knew something was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. But anyway, I looked at it. I looked at the woman. I said, oh, this probably be, it's a little deep. But my wife, she wanted to go to the emergency room. So that kind of, the way we think are totally different because my approach to it would have been just, okay, her approach was different.
Yeah.
So we have different approaches, and men were, and even our approach to it was different. She coddled my daughter. She made sure we took her. We made sure, man, I done had so many scars and scratches when I was little. I was just told to get up and go about.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just told to get up and go about my business.
Yeah.
Get up, be tough, and cry. And so that cut off a part of me, how I dealt with pain. So now my relationship with pain is difficult now because I don't recognize this substance. I don't recognize this mechanism in my body. I don't know what this feels like. And you become 30 and 40 years old and you're just now dealing with your emotions.
Yeah.
And it looks sad. You know what I mean? And I think, how do we change that? That's a goal here. That's a mission statement. It's to help black men in particular, all men, express themselves in a way to where you don't lose your masculinity, but you can speak up too.
Absolutely.
You're valuable too.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care what the world says about black men. We valuable.
Yeah.
We give something to the world. We are strong. Our story has been told for us. So I want to be an advocate. I want to be a world changer telling the story of the black man, because we it's so many. Messaging is real.
Mm-hmm.
We got to just reverse it. So when I build a conversation, now I'm building the conversation now to reflect the light on black men.
Yeah.
To reflect our power, to reflect our intellect, our valor, that we are fathers. Yeah, do we struggle? Everybody struggles.
Yes,
but see, ours just get put out in front of everybody's.
Right. So, you know, one of the biggest things I'll say to that is any system that's created is created to work. And so systematically that was set up that way.
Absolutely. Come on, Ivan.
And so, because if I can get you or put you in position to think logically, think logically, how much better are you going to be useful for the things that I really need you to do?
Absolutely.
And not connect to that inner emotional side, not being able to fully connect. Because if I can keep you from fully connecting, then I can keep you from being fully experiencing this human experience that you're supposed to have.
Absolutely.
And vice versa on the other side. If I can get you to tend to or stay more on the side of being emotional, I don't have to worry about you just thinking about things logically, which means that you're going to seek that in somebody else.
Yes.
As if you don't actually already have that.
Absolutely.
And so systematically it has worked. I mean, you know, once you implement a system, it works for so long. The best way to be able to change that is we got to start now, and we got to speak to our youth, and we got to let that young man know that it's okay to express that emotion, and we got to let that young lady know that it's okay to have ambitions.
Absolutely.
It's you know, we got to stop playing the double standard.
Yeah.
It's something that we've done for so long, but where do we learn that from, Steve?
Come on, Ivan.
You know, we learned that from our parents, our forefathers, their forefathers, and that's just been passed down for so many generations. And I'm not saying that it hasn't worked, but has it been what's needed most, or is it what's best for us? And I don't think it's what's best for us, because me personally, if you have a complete balance of both of those things, it's going to make you an overall better person and a lot more understanding of other people around you.
Absolutely.
Because the true goal here is connection.
Absolutely.
It's connection. So,
I think this is the process of evolution.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
these are the growing pains over the generations that, you know, they pass on. And sometimes I think we get caught up in generational curses that we forget that we got just as many generational blessings.
Yes,
it was a balance. It's just about the way you look at it. You know, I think, you know, a part of the slave mentality is, I remember Kanye saying this, they made us hate ourselves and love their wealth. So we have an infatuation with things versus each other.
Right.
And how we got out and how we got over is each other.
Right.
You know, that's how the civil rights movement was. It wasn't people with boosters with a whole bunch of money. It was the collection of the people. The people refused to get on the bus during the bus boycott. It was just Martin Luther King saying the speech. The people did the trash can strike. Like it was, you know, I think it was the trash man. Was it the trash man? Not trash. I think it was. Whatever it was. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was the people that executed that when they went on strike.
Right.
It was the people, the connection is what we're always going to need. And it doesn't matter if one of us is only succeeding, none of us is succeeding. Because what is the biggest mishap on our community? We're crabs in a barrel. Jealousy. They created jealousy. Now, go ahead.
Well, I mean, and that takes us right back to not being able to connect to one another.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it's so interesting that we get very excited about the Maybach and a Louis Vuitton purse, right? But that just came from one of the people that you're supposed to connect with. Somebody made that. Somebody did that. So why do we find value in the thing that they created instead of the person that created it? And so if you spent more time connecting with people, you'll find out that there's so many different things and so many different levels of creativity in people. It will help you remove the attachment that we've grown to these material things, because those material things, everything on this set right now,
Yes.
everything on this set, including the carpet underneath our feet, the clothes that we have on our back, everything was created by another. You and I.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
In this room, in this building, was created by a person.
Yes.
This is all great stuff. It's all great equipment. These are all great things. You're a great person, but guess what? It came from another person. So we should spend more time learning about other people and being able to connect with them better, so that we can actually be able to create things that really need to be created, which are memories and moments versus
Absolutely.
just things that you're just going to leave behind.
Yeah, because spending time with my daughters this weekend was monumental.
Yeah.
You know, that was something etched in stone in the history of my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the first annual Daddy-Daughter Day. Like that meant something to me on a deeper level, for them to have that moment with me. And it was a love and it was a bonding and a connection that, you know, I personally never felt. And at that moment, I was like, I just want to be around my kids.
Yeah.
You know, it was the moment I realized I can go do other stuff, but raising them, pouring into them, like being their biggest cheerleader, like really being participants in their life, like, and enjoying it versus making them like, oh, y'all getting on my nerves, go somewhere. No, man, I don't want a babysitter. I want my kids to know that they're loved at all times. Not that I know it takes a village. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But now more than ever, I believe that parents do have to be more attention to detail, because Auntie isn't down the street anymore. Grandma isn't right down there anymore. You don't know who you're living beside sometimes. So it's more important than ever that I think that, you know, we impart those things into our children and those memories. And I didn't have to pay for that.
Right.
You know, it wasn't a lot of money. I didn't have to pay for that. It wasn't, my kids were, and my kids were teaching me about life. That's why God lets you reproduce. Not to give you kids for a legacy. It's to see a better version of yourself and get it right.
Yeah.
And then when you get old, you get to look back on the bad version, the bad self, the good self, and you get to weigh them, and then you get to give what we call wisdom.
Yeah.
That's why we keep creating and doing that, just to get a little bit better. So my kids are teaching me. I'm learning. I just watch how they forgive. Man, I just watch how they can be at each other's throat, but the next minute they're playing. If we did that, Ivan, human evolution would be through the roof. There wouldn't be a system. There wouldn't be a caste system, a class system, a race system. It wouldn't be anything. It would be harmony. It would be harmony.
And you know what I'll say to that is, as in some studies that I'm doing for a new business that I'm looking to start up real soon, is, did you know that child care of any 2-income household is the second largest expense? In some states, it's the number one largest expense.
I know.
And the reason, right, yeah.
Yes.
And the reason why that's so huge is because they're making you pay for not having a family structure. They're cutting you out of a wealth gap for not having a family structure. They're putting you in position for you actually being able to have to turn over all your resources because you don't have a family structure. We got to get back to a family structure. I know we're talking about connecting and connection.
And it starts with the family.
But it
starts with the family.
Yeah. We got to come back together. And in this country, that's the reason why we're seeing the wealth gap go the way that we are. Because as a demographic, as a group, we grow up, we get older, we move out. It's like, all right, I'm going to do this thing on my own. Well, you got 2 sisters.
You talking, Ivan?
You got 2 sisters. One of you are in position to be able to own a home.
Absolutely.
The other one is just now finishing up school. The other one's just now getting a career in place. She can't do that yet. Why are you not building a family LLC?
Absolutely.
Purchasing that home together, All three of you lived all together at one point in time before anyway. And so they're bridging us out of the wealth gap with that. And so, yeah, that connection has to come together with family first. You're right. Yeah.
And the way we think about money, and I think if we can just shift our focus where money works for us versus we working for it.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with the family. We've always talked about this on the phone. I propose this all the time.
Yeah.
Family wealth. What if, like, just imagine this. This might be idealistic, but the only thing, I'll talk about this for a second, but the only thing that's segregated in our community is our bank accounts. We'll tell each other the divorce stories. We'll tell sex stories. We'll do everything. We'll do everything in the world but the bank account.
And it's because we haven't made it a comfortable conversation.
It's not money is the most uncomfortable conversation there is because of the value that we've placed on it.
Right.
If
the value that we placed on it.
Off of it, then it won't cost you as much.
Yeah.
Take the value off of it, then it won't cost you as much. And that's for anything.
And part of the reason for that is we've been taught that it's valuable and that it has a value to it instead of that it's a hammer.
It is.
It's a hammer. It's just a tool. That tool, and honestly, the things that it is that we truly want, the things that we truly desire, we actually could get more of that if we just use the tool.
Absolutely.
But we want to possess the tool and we want to have more of the tool instead of actually using the tool for what it's for. It's supposed to go and bring back friends.
Absolutely.
That's what the tool's supposed to do. So,
and I think, and we know what that value brings. And listen, money is not demonizing money because money is, we need it.
Absolutely.
And I think there's ways to get it. I think there's strategic ways to get it, but rushing to get it, trying to gobble up the most. I think get what your desire is.
Absolutely.
Get what your desire is, and I always tell God, whenever you bless me, I'm blessing other people.
Yeah.
I don't care how much it is. I don't want to hold on to that burden. I want to take care of my family, give them what they need, make sure my daughter's education's paid for, make sure we can do some things, and that's it. I don't want to overconsume because I know what it feels like not to have. I know what it feels like to need and want to have a gift burning inside of you, but you don't have the resources. I know what that feels like. And my ministry, I'm going to make sure that people in my community don't feel that. I mean, giving here. We're going to work out a deal here. I want to be in banks. When we get a lot, be the bank for somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a burden that we carry. Listen. Everybody, listen, having money is great. Don't get me wrong. It's an addiction. I get it. I want it. But, man, I got to value you more than money.
Right. Because if I value money more than you are the person that actually has something creative in you that actually can go and earn the money and turn that tool into something else.
Absolutely.
So I got to put more value in you.
Absolutely.
And, sometimes I feel like we get caught up in investing in the wrong things.
Yeah.
We get caught up in investing in the wrong things. And it's because we haven't had the conversation. But, it just makes me wonder, how do we make that conversation a popular and a less uncomfortable conversation in our Black households? Because if we can get over that particular hurdle, I believe that we'll be able to change so many different generations for the future.
And I think our relationship with money, it comes from, us not having access to the thing. In America, when you got money, you can live the American dream. And Black people have had to watch the American dream for decades and decades and hundreds of years and not have it. So naturally, I do understand when you get it, you don't want to let it go because you know what it's like not to have it. You know how cruel this world is when people don't have money. And so I understand it from that perspective. I get why we are like that. But now the conversation, we talked about building the conversation, correct? Now we got to turn idealistic conversations into reality. And I think it starts with, a conversation like this, family wealth. Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
And so so it posed the question of, we see the American dream and we feel like we're missing out on it. Are we missing out on the American dream because we're not following the structure? Because do they use a family structure?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll ask you another question. Not to, but you have Asian friends, Eastern Asian, West Asian friends, or
I know
people that
them,
you
but
know.
not like friends.
What
though.
kind of structure did they have when they came to this country?
Family?
They had a family structure.
Absolutely.
Do they have wealth? You know any of them that has wealth?
Yes.
And so we have a blueprint. Why is it that we're unwilling to follow? We've got to, in our communities, we have got to start to pull together and just pay attention. If the movie's right there in front of us.
And I think we got to do a little bit more work because of the type of history that we did have. Mm-hmm. I think we got to be sensitive to that. That doesn't mean we make an excuse for it, but being sensitive to something is you understanding. It's the way we evolve and think about things. Okay, listen, we're not rushing to get to this goal. We're not going to be the dominant race. We're only 13% right now. We're not going to be we're not going to be dominant tomorrow, maybe not next year. This might be a lifetime in the making, but what we're here to do is help prepare the meal.
Right.
You are Joshua to your parents, but you're Moses to the generation coming behind you. You got to accept
good.
both positions.
Yeah.
You can't be the savior in every story and live to see it. It don't work that way. Life don't. That's why the heroes got to die. That's why Christ died. You see the valor. He died on the cross for your sin. It was like a heroic death. Like, you got to sacrifice. Something that has to go. You have to sacrifice for this. So we may not, and I think we got to be okay. This is why we have to, and I'm trying to describe on why we got to let go of the weight of money and what it's done to us and how it's further divided us. The thing that you thought it would bring you the most, you hear it all the time when people get money. Biggie said it, more money, more problems. That's a real statement. Mm-hmm. It is. People expect more out of you. Yeah. And we know expectation is the biggest weight ever created.
Yeah.
That's the biggest weight ever created on people is expectations. Yeah. Somebody else's expectations they have of you. They ain't even walking in your shoes and they got expectations of you. Yeah. That's weighty. That's hard to carry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. And I know part of that is when you go without for so long, all you can think about is getting.
Yes. Yes.
You don't really think about the building blocks that it takes to do it. It's like, I got to get it now. I got to get it now. I got to get it now. Because it's like, man, I never had an opportunity to have it. I at least want to enjoy it before I leave.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we got to find a way to change that relationship. We got to shift that relationship. That relationship has to be shifted.
Yeah, and we keep the relationship because we want as much of it as we can get because we do know what system we work in, and that's fine. We don't have to destroy the game. We just got to know how to play it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I'm not mad at what happened. I'm glad we're here. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be here without those events. I wouldn't be a proud black man because my granddaddy didn't get to be one.
Yeah.
In public. He didn't get to poke out his chest and have his bravado like me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have it for him and my father. Yeah. My father laid the groundwork for me to be here. My father, he touched thousands of lives. He was able to bring people together, and it's funny that he didn't get to live to see, I wasn't alive long enough to see his work. And he was not alive long enough to see my work, but we was there though in eternity because I needed to watch him in eternity. And when I got here, I got a couple of years with him, and now he gets to watch me in eternity. Yeah. So we turn into each other. Yeah. Like that's why it's so important to always become the best version of yourself because you're gonna be this version of yourself here and in eternity.
Yeah, we're
divine.
Yeah,
it's the only thing that's blocking you is this skin, this flesh. That's it.
That's good.
You're bigger than these things. This is not we hate money. I don't care about money at all because I realize I'm so much bigger than that. Yeah. And our problems can be solved without stress.
Right.
All we need is family.
Yeah.
And these are
the only reason why money is even a issue or a problem is because they created a system for it.
Absolutely.
Because we're the only creatures on the planet that lives by that system. But okay, I'll digress. We're the only creatures on the planet that lives by that system. We went and we created a new system. The gazelle gets up every day It grazes. It drinks water. It runs and plays with the other gazelles. And it knows that there will become a day that he's going to be hunted. But they don't have to worry about what they're going to eat, nor what they're going to drink, or how they're going to actually be able to exist.
Come on.
They just get the opportunity to exist. And if humans were put in that position to just be able to just exist, man, what would you literally be able to create?
And the spirit of money was accepted in the Garden of Eden. The greed.
Yeah.
See, it ain't money, it's what comes behind it.
Right.
It's the spirit that it possesses.
Right.
So now, if you took money out of the world, you would now see heaven. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the world would look beautiful. You know why? Because people will have the opportunity to go where they want, build where they want, without cost, and they could be the best version of themselves all the time. It would be no judging. Why would you judge? Because we got the same amount of things. What's the point? Because now we only judge each other. Oh, he got more money, so we give him more respect. We put people on TV that we know can't talk.
Right.
We put people out just because they got money or fame or anything like that. And I think, that's the separator. That's what gives people a voice, and that's what don't give certain people who should have a voice.
A voice, right.
So, this thing is the great separator. My thing is, let's not get rid of it. Let's just, like you said, create a more fruitful and better relationship with it, understanding that you're the power broker in a relationship between money. So that means you don't have to always get it fast. Build what you want. You don't always have to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't always have to rush to get it. I'm realizing now, I'm going to slow walk my journey because I want to be prepared to when I get to the destination.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to kill myself to get there. And then by the time I get there, I got no energy.
Right. I can't remember the gentleman that quoted it, but he said the fastest way to get to the place where you're going is slowly.
Come on.
See, the thing
that's good.
You can run anywhere, but when you run, you're going to miss a couple of signs. You might step on a couple of rocks.
Yep.
You're going to trip a couple of times. You might hit a couple of dead ends.
Yep.
But when you walk and you pace yourself, you get an opportunity to observe everything around you, which puts you in a position to be able to get there at the pace of which you was going to likely get there anyway. The walker doesn't beat the runner.
No.
Because the runner is going to come up against so many obstacles as the walker is going to be able to walk right around them.
Absolutely.
And so the runner gets to actually lead for the person that's how this generation has gotten the way it is.
Absolutely.
You got some people that ran out there, and now you got some people that can actually walk their way through it because they've already seen somebody else's journey and they've seen those trip ups. And so now they have the ability of being able to walk and, watching out for some of those sandy spurls and some of those ponds and some of those quicksand that can possibly come up on the journey.
And I think the process of maturing, I think you got to be mature for your gift. I think you need to, when I was a child, I spake as a child, but now that I'm getting older, so now I've always had my gifts, but they weren't always mature. Mm-hmm. So now some of my immaturity is I have to fix by becoming mature. And that's taking off some of those immature things I used to think, how I used to communicate. As a man, when you're a man, especially, and I'm learning this as a husband and a father, you're responsible. Leadership is hard.
You said something, and I just kind of want to piggyback off of it. And you can go and you can do your own study when it comes to biblical understanding. But the journey to the promised land was supposed to take 40 days.
Yes, come on. It
was supposed to take 40 days. It took 40 years. It took 40 years because God knew the people needed to mature before they went into the promised land. Because if they would have went into the promised land prematurely, the promised land would have became
greed. They would have overconsumed.
And so people don't understand that the reason why God gave them manna in the wilderness is because he needed to show them how to ration themselves now.
That's good.
I got to keep you in this place walking in circles so you can mature some, so you'll understand how to tend and care for the promised land when you walk into it. Moses not going to get an opportunity to see it, but I'm walking you there. And as I walk you there, you have to mature before you can actually enter. It's kind of like, you know, when you was 13, did you know how to drive?
I mean, listen, don't ask me that question on camera.
but you already started practicing.
Yeah, I did.
You've already been behind a couple of vehicles at that time.
Yes.
I know for most men that grew up in the area where I grew up in,
absolutely,
the part of the country we grew up in, we had already driven something.
Yeah.
But were you ready to drive?
No. That's good. That's good.
And so
no, now hold on. Hold on, that's not one. That's the one right there.
But so there comes a time of maturity that has to take place in order for you to be able to do that specific thing. And the people of the people of Israel at that time, they weren't ready to go into the promised land. They were still trying to get rid of the idols that they had started worshiping. They weren't ready to go into a promised land because they would have turned the promised land into a broken promise.
Yeah.
And so there is a time of maturity that has to take place. And so it was just interesting that you said that the way to actually get to where it is that you want to go, you ain't got to rush no more.
No.
You can take your time to do it. See, the thing is we feel like time is just a construct. We feel like
it is.
We're losing so much by not getting it done right now. But you're missing so much by trying to do it right now.
Absolutely.
You make so many more mistakes. You fall so many more times when you can prevent some of those things from happening. So
life is about achieving higher consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's always critical that you just watch the little things. Mm-hmm. In the little things, the big things lie. Yeah. Meaning that, man, eating cookies with my daughters, nobody will ever see it. It will never be on the TV, but it gives me a feeling of love that I've never felt before. And it's in those little things.
And it'll be something they'll remember 30 years from now. That'll be one of the things they'll remember 30 years from now.
Them taking the trash out with me. Daddy, can I go with you? Those things are, Daddy, like we got a little pat salute when we leave the house, and my daughter Eden gave me the pat salute. We do it like that. And River walked up. She was like, Daddy, can I do this pat salute? So that melted me. You know what I mean? That little moment right there, knowing that my presence, look at that. My presence is a gift to her.
Yeah.
And that's another way for us to kill that stereotype. Build a different conversation. We don't build the conversation by talking to you on camera. I'm trying to build a conversation by walking it off of camera. Because, see, my greatest flex won't be the way I can talk. It'll be how I raise my girls, how I treat my wife.
Yes.
Ultimately, you know, that's gonna be my legacy. That's gonna tell the story of who I was when nobody was looking.
Yeah.
See, regardless, that's why I said men, husbands, and leaderships, it's a great responsibility. It's a real journey. You know what I mean? And just family in general, period. Whether separated, divorced, it's a great responsibility raising a family. I don't care whether you're separated or whether you're divorced. You're still raising that family. They still gonna depend on you. You still have to be a strong tower in that family, man. And they're still gonna tell the story, because there's many different ways to do families.
Absolutely.
We gotta stop this. It's many different ways to be family.
Absolutely.
It's so many different ways. Everybody's energy was not meant to clash for a long time. So, you know, forever that's why time is it's just a construct. That's why time is it's not real, because we say forever, like, come on. Like, we say forever, and some people may be forever, but we shouldn't hold people to something. We shouldn't, if people have a change of opinion or a change of heart or something, let them have it. But family, my point to this is, family comes in all shapes and sizes. We can't allow those things to be curses. Sometimes those things are blessings. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Sometimes those things are blessings. Until you was in a house with somebody you don't know. Yeah. So family works in so many different ways. We just now, I believe, have to build the conversation differently now. We have to start to look at what is our intrinsic value?
Yeah.
What is our value to each other? Like, you know, how do we just do the little things on the street? Like we talked about, just speak to somebody, have a conversation with them, like ask them how they're doing. Even if your day's going bad, uplift somebody. Always, you know, it's crazy. I heard somebody say this. I think it was Pastor Mike. He said this. He said he serves his wife whenever they're going through something. And I find that, I thought that was so admirable. You know, whenever you feel like somebody did something to you, the best cure is love. Love breaks down the walls of everything. Like me and my wife was mad for some reason today. I think yesterday, all day, I was just mad yesterday for something that happened. And today, instead of me trying to prove a point, I just brought her cookies. And it's not a kudos to me. I'm just finding that love isn't for the other person, it's for you.
That's good. That's good.
It's healing me.
That's good.
See, it doesn't matter what I'm getting.
That's good. That's the key right there. That's a bar.
I'm giving to get. And the more I'm filled up with, man, nobody can reject love. Nobody. That's why Christ said, when turn the other cheek, and we watered it down and made jokes out of it, but it's really real. You know what I mean? And I understand defending yourself is not violence. That's a different thing. Mm-hmm. Cain and Abel was violence. I'm talking about, like, if somebody's bothering you, listen, don't let nobody hit you. That's not what I'm advocating. You don't always have to retaliate in relationship with each other. If I wrong you, we don't always have to stand on an antiquated principle that no longer exists in the world. I can still love you. Like, we can, even though if we got issues with each other, why? We can solve those. Like, if we solve the issues that we have with each other, I don't know who this is for, bro, but we got to solve these issues. These are the little nuances, the little beefs that we hold. Cause bro, listen, when a black person mad at you, bro, they likely to never talk to you again.
Yeah, no, that's a fact.
Again.
Which is further segregating and breaking us apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, that was so perfect. Love can heal the other person, but love always heals you.
It does.
It heals you.
It does.
That's good. Like, because it's easy. It's easy to love when everything is great. Everything's hunky dory. It's tough to love when you feel unloved.
That's good. That's good. The Bible speaks on that as well.
Yeah. And you can't actually want something if you're not willing to actually give. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall it be given into your bosom. And now, most people use that as a money scripture, but that's with anything you give. It says, give, and it shall be given unto you. Meaning that whatever on the other side of the give, whatever you gave, that's what you're going to get back in abundance. And so that's good, man. That's really good.
And I think sometimes what we think we want, we don't need. And that's why you don't always get what you want.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you can be experiencing love but missing it because you want lust. Because you want the lust of the flesh. Because we have to be careful and understanding that love is a spectrum. God is love.
Yes.
Love is everything. That's why I said the little things. That's why I don't miss those things. See, I may not be getting this, but I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
See, that's why a balance. That's why it's so important in this world to have balance, because we're out of balance. So now balance is the only thing that's going to keep us. You know, that's why judgment, we have to lay that down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Your good ain't good enough, Ivan. Anybody, just because you got it ain't good enough. You find that out. You can't obtain enough. And your evil ain't that evil.
Yeah. Well, and part of the reason is because that's based off of man's judgment.
Yes.
Yeah. So your good will never be good enough if it's going to be based off of man, and your evil might not be that bad if it's still based off of man. But love is that very thing that we have to be willing to give at all times.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I know we're talking about family and the family structure, but in order for our communities to get it, we got to get it outside of our homes.
Absolutely.
Too. You know what I mean? I remember a few years ago, when you started Black Men Speak.
Yep.
And, you know, that resonated with me because I was like, man, when I go to the gym, some of the stuff you were saying, I was like, hey, when I go to the gym, I probably do that too. I see another brother, don't say nothing to him, don't speak to him. I don't know when the last time somebody asked him how his day was.
Man, that's crazy. We don't talk to each other.
We don't.
Like, black dudes don't, like, unless we know you, like, it's like a thing. We don't talk to each other at all.
Yeah, I mean, you might give a little head nod if you feel like you got something.
If y'all make eye contact.
Yeah, y'all make eye contact or something.
But if he looks straight, don't gaze. Like, if he don't want to speak, just keep looking straight.
Right.
And we know the man lost.
And it's crazy because why do we do that? He might not want to speak because the last time he tried to speak to somebody, they did what he did.
Black men preserve their peace uniquely. They go into caves. Because the world hasn't been kind to black men. Now, black men aren't without sin.
Yeah.
Let's be clear about that.
Oh, yeah,
but
absolutely.
The world hasn't been kind to black people in general, but we're speaking specifically about black men. Mm-hmm. The world hasn't been kind to black men. Black men, we talked about earlier, just has been castrated of expression. They can't really, or don't feel like they can express themselves and without being judged. You know, sure, we can do it. But there's judgment that comes along with it.
Yeah.
A lot of judgment. Stereotypes are already built. So those things, you know, we carry, Ivan. We carry those things, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we do carry those things. And it's one of those things, it's like, you really don't know where it came from because, I mean, it's just one of those habits that's picked up on. It's not something that my mom taught me.
No.
It's just one of those habits that you pick up on that you just don't do it. And we got to stop making that a thing. I mean, we got to stop making it a thing with everybody. It's easy for us. Like, you see a young lady, she's physically attractive. It's easy for you to speak to her.
Yes.
It's easy for you to speak to her because something about her entices you to speak to her. I think we just got to be, more intentional, which is one of the things that you said when it comes to something like that. In order for us to really kind of get this and spread it abroad outside of our house.
Yeah.
Because in order for us to really, really, really be able to get to a certain place and really change that 13% to a 63%, we got to start connecting with one another more.
Yeah. And I think that's the important things, and it starts with the leaders, the black men, standing up, and we got to, that's what I'm saying, breaking that, we got to break that wall of communication with each other. Because we're beneficial to each other. We got to trust each other. You know what I mean? No more competition. We don't no competing with black men. Black men should, we need to stop competing with each other.
Yeah.
Like straight up, no more competing. Like just working together. Like
collaboration over competition, man.
All day long, man. Like that's the mantra, Ivan. Like that's what I want to build here, man. Like freely giving and trusting each other, man. Like putting on this honor system, a code that we live by with each other. Like we all sit back and we struggle silently, separately. We never talk. Black women have become more powerful. They are the most powerful entity on this planet now because they have let it out.
Yeah.
They let it out. They got it out. They're not afraid to express themselves. They will not let you silence them. Absolutely not. And now they are a powerful voice in this country. And that's a positive thing.
Yeah.
I don't look at that as a negative thing. No. That is an asset.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? Our voice got shrunk and their voice got crunk. Their voice got broader. Their voice got bigger. So now they're going to bring us along. Like, that's how I look at it. We got to change. I know there's a rift between black men and black women. I know there's a communication gap. There's a comprehension gap. We feel one way. They feel one way. There's a lot of tension in relationships. Like, there's a lot of miscommunication in relationships. But listen, man, listen. We got to drop that, though.
Yeah.
We got to drop that when it comes to the collective and realize that, man, listen, they got power.
Yeah.
Their power isn't our weakness. It's our strength.
Absolutely.
It's the thing that's going to carry us over. Because not only can they do what they do in their home, they can do it in the workplace. That's a dangerous combination now.
Yeah.
Now it's up to men to now be secure and walk in that manner and be providers, because we provide much more than what America has told us to provide. We provide love. Listen, I show my daughters affection. I didn't get affection growing up. My father passed away. I didn't get affection like that. My mama had to raise 5. It was pressure time. Poverty real.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
it's tough to do that.
Yeah, not that we didn't even think about it like poverty, but it was the thing. We had to. It was ready time.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things, just to piggyback off of something that you said earlier, and you've said this before. We had a whole podcast about this. One of the biggest things as black men that we have to start to do is we gotta check the ego at the door.
Absolutely,
we gotta leave the E, G, and O outside.
Stop edging God out.
Yeah, man. You know, Kevin Hart was just talking about on one of his podcasts. He was just saying how he can collab with so many different people, and they can all make money together, and they just splitting it down the middle because he's not caring about who gets the credit or who's the bigger. And we gotta stop edging God out. Because, I mean, truly who it is it's us.
Because Kevin Hart has now made enough money for money not to matter anymore.
Right.
So that's why guys look more relaxed at that stage.
Yeah.
And he stayed. And one of the greatest things about Kevin Hart that I love is he managed to stay grounded through this whole entire process.
Yeah.
Those were jewels he was dropping on Pivot. Those were real jewels, because he sees he said it. I'm sitting at a place you're not sitting at.
Yeah.
I know where you're sitting at, but you don't know where I'm sitting at.
Yeah.
And that could sound arrogant, but it's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's an absolute truth.
It's a fact.
And what he's saying is, listen, bro, I'm giving you the game right now. This is the pathway without losing yourself. And I think most people who really want to show their gift without it being tainted need a roadmap, because and we got to watch our, and like I said it on the last podcast, we got to guard our gifted. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying that, because those are the people listen, we talked about Zion Williamson contract and all the contracts in the NBA. Zion, these contracts in the NBA are generating, in one stroke of a pen, more than 18 to 19 generations of work. You see what I'm saying? When you surround somebody really gifted and you give them the tools and the confidence, they're going to excel in a field that can free your family from the bounds of money.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a cost, but that's why you got to guard the gifted. Yeah. That's why I say we got to allow our gifted to flourish. That's why I love creators. Like I feel like my creativity was stifled for so long because I was chasing something that wasn't me. You know what I mean? I've always been this. I've always wanted to entertain and put on a good product, because I've always loved TV. I've always just, my dad wasn't there when he died, like, you know, I had the TV. I watched certain things. You know, I love movies. Movies became one of my favorite things. I remember going to the Apollo when I was 13 to see Batman in 1989. Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean? I never forget the Batman walking on the church steps. You know, Prince, 1999. You know, all of those things were memories. The Batmobile, like the first Batman car is the most. It don't matter what they make. The Batmobile in the first Batman with Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton is the greatest one of all time.
Yeah,
they can't. Yeah. It's nothing gonna be more perfect than that.
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of bells and whistles you put on them. It's nothing gonna be more perfect.
Yeah. I don't know that Batmobile in the Black Knight though.
The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Oh, the Dark Knight, my favorite series though.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, you know, Christian Bale, but
I like Christian Bale. I mean, but the villains carried
towards the latter part. Reason why he didn't get that fourth one, you know, with all the with the controversy and things like that. But prior to that, I mean, he did a really good job, and that joint was different.
I don't know how we got on this, but I love the Dark Knight, so I guess we can close. Like, I don't know what I was even saying, but I guess, you know.
No. You were basically you were saying how we need to guard our gift.
Yeah. So I'm gonna come back to the Dark Knight too at the end of the podcast, but I think it's important, and even we talked about, you know, in the last podcast about how LeBron James circle. And how that was a model. And I think, You know, when you look at guys like Kevin Hart, they got that circle too as well. And I feel like we got that same nucleus. I think if you a brother, find you a nucleus that you can trust, and you build trust through camaraderie. You know, we spent time together before we start doing business together. We got to know each other. We know each other's family. We know each other's history. You know, business came second. You know what I mean? We got to know each other. God, we got time.
We connected.
We connected. So now, you know, the connection was genuine. So now I ain't got to have a conversation with you about money because I know you're not going to do me like that.
Right.
I know that, you know, I know that I've got to know your character. Yeah, can people fall off the wagon? Can people do stuff? But guess what happened? When you start tripping, Ivan, I can see the signs coming.
Right.
Because we already connected. We bonded. That's what bonds are. They connect you so you know when the person's off. You know when something ain't right about this.
Yeah.
He not acting right. People, we're creatures of habit, correct?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So guard our gifted. Build a conversation to where we gonna start building around that. Instead of we not talking down on our gifted, we're gonna lift them up. We're gonna find the good in them. We can talk about them without putting them out there. So I believe that, you know, that's one of the things I want to do too, man. So I think we want to here at the Deep Surface, man. I want to be. I think we're an industry. I think we represent something bigger. I think we represent a new revolution. A new wave in the market on how we, not just how we do business, how we have conversations, you know, how we move, how we be strategic. You know, there are going to be many different branches to what we do here. You know, I want to add so much TV, documentaries, telling people stories, showing black like messaging, man. So this is the infant stages, man. So let's enjoy the process. Let's build on the process, man. We was talking about some at the barbershop today about how all the black groups break up. And how just controversy always get in the way, and how, you know, everybody, I mean, you got to look down the line, like something always comes in the way. And Kevin Hart was even talking about that. And I just think about how building cohesion without ego, that's what he was talking about. You know, if you drop your ego, you can see the creativity in a person.
Absolutely.
There's no judgment. All you see is God in that person because we're divine. You know, of course, when your ego's up, you look like a human. But when you take that ego down, because all you do when there's no ego is you serve and you love. You may take some scarves. Don't get me wrong. There's resistance in love.
Absolutely.
That's the Second Amendment too.
Yes.
You know, but you know, it just, we're going to figure it out. I'm optimistic. I have a complete and total belief that what we're doing here and what we're going to be able to do for the foreseeable future is going to be game changing. It's going to be innovative. I think we're going to go to different realms, and I'm speaking these things and I believe in them. I'm convicted by it. It's my belief system now. You know, I believe in I breathe in the freedom of all man. You know, freedom ain't free, and I want people to feel that. Because people can that's when you don't make excuses. When you get freedom, you know that if it's you, see, if it was you or them. When you get real freedom, you get to make your own decisions, your own choices. Then you become responsible. You become your own self. And this is what God wanted us to do while we down here, is to realize our divinity. God, you make your own decisions. You're responsible for your own decisions and your own choices. So it's up to us to help through the wisdom that God has given us, man, to help, you know, in any way possible, man, and receive wisdom too as well, man. You know, that's the big part of leadership, is humbling yourself, being a servant leader. You do more listening than more talking. You know, I outside of this 57 minutes right now, I don't talk. I try to limit how much I talk. I try to listen to the voice of God. You know, not on some deeply spiritual stuff, but listen, not missing the little things. Watering the plants, Ivan. Going to Chick-fil-A, just doing the little, I know on Thursdays before I come here, my daughter's going to want Chick-fil-A. You know, they're going to want things a certain way. And I talk about it a lot because it's the little things in life that just makes me know that love is real and present. Love is the realest thing ever. And once you submit yourself to it, it's over.
Absolutely.
And speaking of, but to close the podcast, man, listen, The Dark Knight, I want to talk about The Dark Knight for a second because I'm glad you brought it up. And there was a point on there because I want to talk about one of my probably my favorite villain. And I don't think he's a villain.
I think I already know who you're talking about. Go right ahead.
Bane is mine.
Absolutely.
Bane is, because I don't see Bane, Tim, make sure you get a close-up on this one when I'm talking about Bane. I don't think Bane was a bad guy. I think Bane stood for something greater. And I believed him. I think he I think he went about it obviously the wrong way, but he was willing. It was a belief in something bigger than himself, because what he was doing wasn't necessarily wrong if he went through the right channels, but he used a different method to get there. And he was convicted in it, and he believed in it, and that it was that singular focus for the task. Like, if you look at it, it wasn't for him to be a hero or a villain. It was because of the cause.
Yeah.
It was just the cause. And he deeply believed it. And that's what connected with me. But one line in the movie that connected with me that he said, so Catwoman was leading Batman down the road. He wanted to see what Bane was, because Bane at that time, if you know the movie, he had started the destruction. So
Yeah.
But Batman wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So Batman was still living off of being Batman.
Yeah.
He was wounded. Remember that from the last fight with the Joker that wounded him. He took no time. He was wounded, and he got into the fight. So he wanted to go fight Bane because he was the hero. He was known as the hero. And remember what Harvey Dent said in the movie? Either you die a hero or see yourself live long enough to become the villain. He became the villain at that point because he had to take the fall for Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now, right?
Yeah.
So now he goes down. So he's following somebody he doesn't know. I'm going somewhere with this. So he's following somebody he doesn't know, right? Catwoman. She's not trustworthy because she broke into his house, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
She already showed signs of mistrust.
Right.
So his need to get out of his wounded place and still go play the hero. Who that sound like? Black man. Sound like me. Living off of his success. So he goes down the tunnel. No, he should not be trusting this person because he's not even strong enough to trust himself yet. So he goes anyway because his ego says, I gotta win. I gotta be the hero. Yeah. See, that's sometimes, Ivan, why we don't slow down. Our need to save everything, to be this heroic figure. We wasn't taught to sit with it, think about it, mull over it. Because when I believe whenever a man makes a decision, he don't change his mind.
Yeah.
And a lot of us haven't got had that ability, especially if we're wounded from slavery, from unresolved trauma, and all these things that's happened.
That's
a
good.
lot has happened to us in 417 years.
Yeah, that's good.
So he follows her down the sewer way. He knowing he shouldn't be doing it, but his ego's driving him. Your ego will always drive you to destruction because you edge God out. So he's going with her. So they fighting now. So now it looks like, okay, it's a little bit of trust now. So he's fighting because she's fighting with him. Then she said, up ahead. Boom, the door shuts. And at that moment, you felt the tension in the room. You remember that scene? You just kind of felt what was coming. It felt eerie. And she looked, and Batman, I think he looked back at her and said, you make a mistake. He said, you made a serious mistake. And Bane said, not as serious as yours. And I knew at that point, I said, Lord, that frightened me right there. I was like, bro, that frightened me right there, bro. But so he said, let's not stand on ceremony here, Mr. Wayne. So they begin to tussle, and they walking back and forth. You can hear the boom, boom, boom. So they're walking towards each other, right? So they begin to fight, and Batman throws a punch, and Bane catches it, bop, and he looks at him and said, Jesus Christ, victory has defeated you. And I stopped the tape, and I kept repeating it. And it was in the midst of where I understood that statement before. So I didn't understand it when I first watched it. But after the struggle I went through in my life, I truly understood it for what it meant. Victory has defeated you.
That's good.
Remember I talked about he was living on his success.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He thought he could just get out of bed and do it. You will never in your life be able to disrespect the process without repercussions. You will never in your life, I don't care how much you achieved. That's why you see somebody like Michael Jordan. I admire him so much. You know why? He never cheated the process. And that's why with great
Of all time.
with great honor and great trepidation to all of my recent takes, I would like to say that in closing that Michael Jeffrey Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Y'all heard that?
I have watched Michael Jordan. This is hours and hours and hours and hours of tape, no lie, of just watching games, not the highlights, just games. Michael Jordan is the greatest phenomenon probably to ever walk the face of the earth other than Jesus, Gandhi, and a couple of other guys. Michael Jordan is synonymous with greatness. At every phase, at every level, there's no blemish. He is the highest of excellence. They said on The Last Dance, Jordan was as good at his job as anybody arguably has been at any job.
Yeah.
Jordan movements, Jordan could score 40 or 50 in this era too. I'm just gonna admit it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be honest. Listen. I was bold with it.
You waited the wrong night for
absolutely. I'm glad I did it now. But it was on my mind, and I had to do it because I watched Jordan, and it's not just about, it's everything that went along with him. Right. He was. I talked about him in the last.
Not making the high school team.
He was, and I think LeBron is. I still believe what I believe about LeBron.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm never gonna say anybody is the greatest of all time other than Michael Jordan because of what he contributed to the game. And I think, we've got to watch so many great black people before we close out, so many great blacks do some extraordinary things, which gives us hope, man. And it gives us a lot of ways to run. We got to follow the example. And I'm glad, man. I think things are changing. I think things are on the up and up. I choose to be optimistic. I choose to be somebody who just has faith in the process, and because I just believe when I say I'm divine, I believe it. What I mean by that is I just mean that I understand that I'm spirit. I believe that I know God lives in me.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. And I believe that God lives in all of us. We're all energy. We're all connected. We're one. Yeah. And I think that's our frustration, that we believe that we're so, we just, that's why we try to possess each other sometimes. Because we know, we feel that separate nature, but we know we need to be together. The closest thing you can get to oneness is when you with somebody. When y'all together. That's why it's hard when you break up. Because that person in moments in y'all relationship, that person made you feel like nothing else mattered. That's heaven. That's heaven.
That's good.
That's heaven. And that's why we try to hold on to it, but we don't have to. All we got to do is let go and let God ultimately. Let go and let God. And you guys subscribe. YouTube, The Deep Surface Pod. Oh no, Ivan. Whoa. Tim, put the close up on Ivan. And let Ivan, now I forgot. Ivan, make sure you do it with some. You sweating like a Baptist minister over there, but go ahead and take us out.
All right, y'all. Click on the subscribe button on this YouTube video and subscribe to the Deep Surface Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the Deep Surface Podcast on Instagram. And guess what? Like it.
Come on.
Subscribe. This is not just information for you. This is information for your brothers, your sisters, your children. Let's get this information out. The way that you can help us is by clicking that button. Let's get this information out there so you don't just keep it all for yourself. All right,
man. Listen, we'll see you. We out. I think the music be playing at this time. Boom.